Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm finally back in LA and we got a story to talk about. It took me 24 hours to get back to LA from Delaware. So let's get straight into it. I'm gonna be getting ready today for taking content. By the way, this is my new bonnet. I know it's super obnoxious. I'm working on getting a new one that isn't obnoxious in color and also has a better band because I don't really like this. I don't really like this bonnet at all, to be totally honest. But okay, let's get ready. Today I'm using Fig One vitamin C treatment, and I'm also going to use the Bioma moisturizer, which is like a gel moisturizer. As you may or may not know, I am officially a doctor. Yay! But I went home to defend my PhD and, you know, do the graduation pictures, all that stuff. And it took me so long to get back. It's not even funny, but the story y'all will not believe. So I booked a flight out of Newark, New Jersey, or also known as New York. It was a straight flight on Spirit to LAX. Now that's where I messed up. And before y'all even get on me for booking a Spirit flight, it was last minute and I just did. I should have booked a United flight back to Burbank, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, as I arrive to the Newark airport, I get an email that the flight has been delayed 2 hours. So I'm like, all right, I'm already here. I'll just set up camp. I get something to eat, I'm chilling out. And then I finally made my way over to the gate and I quickly realized that all of the flights are delayed. This is why I cannot stand traveling during the summer, because there's so many people, there's so many delays, it's just a nightmare. But it becomes time for them to board my flight. There just so happened to be a second non-stop flight from Newark to LA that was leaving at the same time as mine. Since my flight was delayed, it backed everything up, and basically these two flights to LAX were leaving at the same time. However, they were trying to board them out of the same gate. So that's where the confusion starts to settle in. They finally booked the right people on the right flight number, and we are all boarded on our flight. But we're sitting on this flight for about 60 minutes till it actually takes off, because they apparently don't have the paperwork to clear us to take off. All the while, there is a screaming baby, not crying, but a screaming baby on this flight. From the moment we got on the flight, this baby started crying. There was also a second baby that was seated near my row, and a dog that were very unhappy to be on this flight as well. They weren't screaming just yet, but don't worry, it comes up soon. We finally take off at 6:30. My flight was supposed to originally take off at 3:30. The flight happens, we get close to LAX, and the pilot says, flight attendants, prepare for landing. Then the pilot says, we will be landing in LA in about 30 minutes. So if you have to use the restroom, go ahead and do so now. So 45 minutes pass. Captain says, we have not been cleared to land, so we are currently circling LAX until air traffic control tells us that we can land. So another 20 minutes goes by and they say, folks, we cannot land in LAX, so we are gonna land in Vegas. So the flight lands in Vegas. It is now 10:30 Pacific time, and they're like, we will let you know all of the details when we land. But we all get off this flight in Vegas. Everyone's standing around the gate, and the gate attendant is like, folks, we need to get all of the previous crew off of this flight, and we need to get you guys a new crew for them to take you to LAX. So your new crew will not arrive until 11:30, and your flight will take off at 12:30. It was 10:30 at that time, right? So I'm immediately pissed. But I'm like, you know what? At least I get to get like a little sandwich, because if you've ever flown Spirit, they don't give you water, they don't give you snacks, you have to pay for it all. So I did not pay for it in flight, and instead I just grabbed myself a little sandwich and I sat in the Vegas airport for another 2 hours until it was time to board the flight. Again, I just went in with the Rare Beauty primer. I've actually really been loving this stuff. This stuff is something that you should get. It feels really light on my face, especially now with the humidity both on the East Coast and on the West Coast. So I'm really loving this right now. I'm also going to use the Lancome foundation, which has SPF in it. Like I said, I'm gonna go take some content pics today, so I'm gonna put this on. Time to board the flight in Vegas. We all get on. Actually, no, all of us do not get on. Some people said, to hell with this. I'm gonna find my own way back to LAX, and it's just too late, so goodbye. It's about 80% of the people that originally boarded that are on this flight from Vegas to LA. And we get on that flight, I fall asleep because I'm exhausted, right? I'm traveling solo. Whenever I travel solo, I'm like super alert, but by the time I get on the flight, I am pooped. I fall asleep before the flight even takes off, but we take off around 12:45-ish, so I'm told. And an hour later, it only takes an hour to get to LA from Vegas. An hour later, I hear the flight attendant say, prepare for landing in LA. So I'm like, okay, great, we're almost there. Like, this is the end, right? No, it's not. It's not the end. The pilot says we're gonna be landing in the next 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, cool. Then 25 minutes goes by and he says, we are landing in San Diego. We land in San Diego. Pilot gets on the intercom and says, folks, we could not land in LAX because it was too foggy for me to see the landing strip. So we were not cleared to land and we are now in San Diego. And they're like, we are trying to figure out what to do with you guys and how you're gonna get to LAX. So please hang tight in your seat. So we weren't even at the gate. We were not at a gate at the San Diego airport. We were on the tarmac, all in our seats on this flight. So people get up and they're like talking to the flight attendants and they say, get us off this flight. Like, we just want to get off the plane. We can figure it out from the rest of the way, but can we please just get off? So they start voicing complaints. Flight attendants talk to the pilot. By the way, this is the Fenty Contour in the shade Espresso. I use this just about every video, so you've seen it 1,000 times before. The pilot gets back on the intercom and says, okay, we know that some of you expressed wanting to get off of this flight. We have contacted Spirit, the company, and we want to let you know that the crew that would normally bring the tunnel out to the gate to allow you off of the plane, they just went home. So if you want to get off this flight, we have to wait for them to arrive, and that's gonna be another 45 minutes. So people are uproar. People are crazy at this point. We are so pissed because it's been, at this point, 9 hours of traveling. 9 hours. We continue to sit on this flight. I moved my seat away from people that I'm originally sitting with because they were just annoying the hell out of me. They just wanted to talk and talk and talk, and I'm like, I just want to sit here in silence. So I moved my seat and I sit next to this black guy who had actually talked to me when we were back in Newark. So he came up to me and said, hey, is this the flight for LAX? And I was like, yeah, but it's 2 different LAX flights, so make sure you're getting on the right one. And he was like, okay. When we are in San Diego, I sit next to this man and he calls his family and he starts explaining to them what is going on, but in French. I'm like, oh, okay. He hangs up the phone and I'm like, oh, you know French? Like, are you from France? You know, whatever. So we make conversation. Turns out he was in Newark for a fitness competition and he actually won, so that was super exciting. He was like, I had a really great time, like I had a great week. Now I moved here to LA a few years ago with my brother, so we came together in the same city, but I'm a personal trainer or whatever. So like, I got to know him pretty well because we were sitting on this tarmac for over an hour. Over an hour we're sitting on this flight. Meanwhile, the pilot gets back on the intercom and says, hey folks, there's an update. The people are almost ready to get you off of this flight. So if you want to get off the flight, they are on their way. It's gonna be another 25 minutes. And he goes, well, we have been cleared to give you guys all free refreshments and drinks. So whatever you want, you can order it from the flight attendants. So the flight attendants start going around and they are giving everyone water and cookies and like whatever else anybody else ordered. But at this point, nobody was really ordering anything because everyone was so frustrated and just wanted to get the hell home. So I got a water and flight attendants are being really sweet. Like everyone's just trying their best, right? Until one of the passengers that are in the front, I'm in all the way in the back of the plane, by the way. I'm the last seat in the plane because I booked this flight literally like 4 days before it took off because I didn't know when I was gonna leave to come back to LA. So this flight was super last minute. I'm in the last row, but I can see up in the front, there's a little commotion going on, the people near the emergency exit. Turned out people are trying to hold someone back from opening the emergency door to jump off the plane. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you are on a plane, it is elevated about 20 feet in the air, which is why you have to either get a gate bridge to connect to the front of the flight to get you off, or there's a series of stairs they will connect to the plane to get everyone off. So basically, if you try to open the door and jump off, it's like at least a 20-foot drop. People were trying to open the gate so they can let themselves off of the plane and jump off. This was a time. Flight attendants are trying to stop them. Other passengers are trying to stop them. And eventually they'll sit down, but they're still pissed. And then out of nowhere, one passenger, a male, comes walking to the back to talk to the male flight attendant. And he's like, what's your badge number? I'm taking your badge number because you think you're so tough. What's your badge number? And the flight attendant is like, what? And he like starts taking a picture of his badge number, and he goes, he's walking away and he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you, but I should punch you in the face. And I am like, what is going on right now? What is happening? What is happening? The passenger walks out to the front and then he's like, you know what? And he turns back around and starts walking back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Lord. Why? He is like, I'm not gonna fight you, but I should. Then the flight attendant, the male flight attendant, calls the pilot and says, I am being threatened in the back of this plane by a passenger. So the pilot gets back on the intercom and it's like, hi folks, please do not blame the flight attendants for anything that's going on. We are simply trying our best to figure out how we're gonna get you guys to LA. We are really waiting to hear back to see what is the new plan, get you back to LA because, you know, the weather is so bad and we cannot land. Now, I just want to add this little tidbit in there. The second flight was also going to LA, that was also a nonstop flight that left right after us, landed in LA. So the fact that we did not land was questionable as is. And then the fact that we got on, this is now our third flight, has not landed in LA, was very problematic, right? Finally, people were trying to jump off the plane, and people were trying to fight the flight attendants. Finally, they let us off this flight. We're now in San Diego. It is now 4:30 a.m. I left Newark 6:30 p.m. It's 4:30 a.m. Pacific time and I'm still not back in LA. Get off the flight and there is a manager from Spirit that is there to answer our questions, guide us to the next step. This person was so very unhelpful. In the most respectful way possible, this person was just not helpful at all. We're asking questions like, okay, where is our baggage? Like, are you gonna compensate us? Are we gonna be able to at least get food? Like, it has now been a full 12 hours since we have not eaten. Like, we've been on these flights, like it's just been a nightmare. So this woman gets on her little intercom. She says, I just got word about your new flight and the next flight will be departing at 6:30 a.m. It was 4:30 by this point. Flight will be departing from San Diego to LAX at 6:30 a.m. If you would like to leave and gather your baggage, you can go down to the carousel and get your baggage, but that is the only information we have for you at this time. So people are pissed, including me, like very, very pissed. The woman is literally shouting like, I do not trust you to get me to LA at this point. You were very unhelpful. This whole situation was just total garbage. No one has even tried to compensate us for the time and like everything that's gone into all of this, and we are still not in LA. Another woman is screaming, we're literally delusional because we've been on these flights in the air for so long that we like literally cannot control ourselves. So a third woman then comes up to me and she says, anyone who is going to Hollywood, I will be taking an Uber from here to Hollywood and I am more than welcome to share it with anyone who else wants to go there. So I'm like, you know what, lady, I'll take you up on that. I will take you up on your offer and we're gonna go. I'm not gonna get on their flight. I'm not dealing with this. I don't care how long it takes to get this to LAX. I'm San Diego, I'm getting out of here. Myself and a few other passengers, we all just walked together to the rideshare portion of the airport. So a few people did have baggage, so we were like, okay, we're gonna wait at the carousel and get our baggage. And while we're waiting for the baggage, another woman comes up to me and says, we just got our full refunds from this flight, so if you want to get a refund, this is how you do it. Luckily, I did process a full refund and I'm gonna be getting my refund. While we're also waiting, I'm talking to people I'm gonna be in this Uber with. So it was myself and 4 other passengers that were getting this Uber. And one guy who lived in Hollywood, he was like, listen, I have a car, just put address in the Uber to my house and then I will drive you guys to your individual homes, you know, after that. And I was like, cool guy, thanks so much. So with the 5 of us, the Uber cost us like $45 each, so it was about $230 for us to go from San Diego to Hollywood. The drive was about 2 hours. While we're riding, like, you know, we're talking a little bit, just like, you know, getting to know each other, because this was like such a crazy stance. And as we're in this car, I'm like, I feel like this is an episode of Manifest where like after the flight, all the passengers are trying to get to know each other because we have all been equally traumatized by the situation. We finally arrive in LA at 7 a.m. The Uber driver drops us off at the guy's apartment and the guy drives me back to my apartment. But that is the story of my Flight 828 experience. I'm going to use this until dawn. I've been loving this stuff too. It's like a very light mist, but overall, I think I swallowed a little bit. Overall though, when you don't swallow it, it's actually really good. So I think the worst part about this whole flight situation was that the next morning I got an email from Spirit saying they were gonna compensate me $150 for the whole situation, and my $150 of a gift certificate expire in 30 days. So yeah, I won't be flying Spirit anytime soon. It's not happening. You cannot pay me enough money to get on a Spirit flight. But actually, I'm really happy that I met the people that I met. So my Uber folks, other passengers, super sweet, super nice. I have their contact info, and you know, the people that live in LA, right? So that I can like actually hang out with and stuff. And everyone that was in my Uber was also from the East Coast, except for the one guy who's actually from Russia. But most people were from the East Coast and really cool. That was the flight from hell. Hope you guys enjoyed this story time. This is the final look. I don't know where my lipstick is, so I'm gonna go find that. But thank you guys for tuning into this video, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.